With a stunning view of Mount Etna as the backdrop, we weighed anchor in the Naxos Taormina Bay of Sicily and joined the convoy of yachts heading north through the Messina Strait. We had made the decision to head further north to avoid the cluster of weather patterns that continued to hammer the southern areas of Italy and Greece, and by 12:30 we had exited the strait, heading to our first anchorage off the western coast of Italy. Getting through the strait, however, was a bit of an obstacle course, with the fishing pods, sword fishing boats, tankers, other yachts and ferries, the latter having the right of way and something we definitely didn't want to get tangled with, especially the hydrofoil ferries that came screaming past at 36 knots. By transiting the Messina Strait, we had moved from the Ionian Sea and entered the Tyrrhenian Sea. It was rather disheartening, though, to calculate that although we had motor-sailed or sailed 1,330 nautical miles thus far, we were roughly only 730 nautical miles west of Phoenicia in Turkey, as a result of all the northwest-southwest zigzagging we had had to do to get through and around Turkey, Greece and Italy. Of course, we could have set a course straight for Gibraltar, stopping in Crete and Malta, but then there would have been no point in staying in Turkey for the winter to explore some of the Mediterranean destinations during the summer sailing season, destinations we've thoroughly enjoyed so far. So it's just after 5 in the evening of Tuesday the 13th of June, and we're about 2 hours away from our anchorage, but this is the coastline that we're sailing along. Actually very picturesque. Just come around a little bit so you can see it. So we're hoping to be at our anchorage just after 7. We'll still have light to anchor then as well. So it's 6:30 in the evening. We're about a half an hour away from our anchorage. It has been a very long day, but the good news is that we've left Sicily. We've got through the Messina Straits, and even though we're heading east for the most part today, exactly the direction we don't want to be going, from tomorrow it'll be heading northwest and definitely get more westing in to position ourselves to get over to Sardinia. But this is actually a very pretty coastline, very rural. Let's go back this way. It's very green. Straight ahead is where we're heading to. It's a little town called Vibro Valencia. I believe it's like Sleepy Hollow, not much to do, but as long as it gives us a nice anchorage for the night that's calm and we can get some sleep, that's all we're looking for right now. It was Roy's comment, however, after we'd anchored, that had Elaine in stitches. If we go any more north, we'll be seeing the northern lights. Where the bleep bleep are you taking me? It was a very valid point indeed. Today is the 14th of June. It's a Wednesday. We left the anchorage in Vibo Valencia at 4 o'clock this morning. We're trying to get 80 nautical miles in, obviously motoring. And we are heading to an area called Bai degli, all on the west coast of Italy. But as you can see, it is so flat calm and it's so hazy, you can't really distinguish the sea from the sky. So we're having to use the binoculars to see any traffic out there, anything going on. It's actually quite eerie. Here's another view from the stern of the stern of Porport. Gives you the haze that we're looking at, how flat calm it actually is. So today is Wednesday the 14th of June. We were up at 4 o'clock this morning to head northwest. This is a marine reserve. It is rather late in the day, hence the light, plus it's overcast, and we are motor sailing at around 6.7 knots up to 7.1 knots, and we are heading straight for the coast because there's a cove in here that's supposed to have balls, and we're hoping we can get onto one of them for the night. Otherwise, we have to continue down this shoreline to find somewhere to anchor. This is a view without the sail up, and we are getting closer, but honestly, we can't see a cove. We hope it's there. We'll soon find out. So this is where we've ended up for the night. It's a place called Scario, and it's actually extremely picturesque. Very pretty little village. Beautiful mountains in the back as a backdrop. So today is the 15th of June. It's a Thursday. We had probably one of our worst nights on Pawpaw. The far distant coastline that you can see, we anchored along there last night at a little place called Scario, which you can sort of see in the background. But the forecast was all wrong for starters, as it is always here. And instead of northerly winds or westerly winds, which is why we chose that anchorage and this coastline specifically, turned out to be southerly winds and the worst thunderstorms that brought the swell straight into the anchorage, breaking waves on the beach. And we literally bounced around all night until 3 o'clock this morning. We didn't actually want to lift the anchor and probably make a bad situation worse, so we hung on, and about 3 o'clock this morning the anchor dragged. So we were awake anyway, weighed anchor and bobbed around out in the bay until about first light, which was about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then came into this bay. And the name of this town escapes me, but it's not very picturesque. It's just a normal town that we've seen, very green as well, set in the mountains. It is a mud bottom, so we've got good holding, and the sun is trying to peek through, which will help a little bit, but we know the thunderstorms are coming later again. So we're going to hang on here. There isn't anywhere else to go, and hope that we have a slightly better night tonight. This direction, this is a small marina, definitely don't have space for us, and we couldn't even get Pawpaw in if they did have space. It's tiny. But you'll see the breakwater here, and we are somewhat behind it. So we're hoping that gives us some protection if everything kicks up tonight. And we'll be here for the next few days, let all this weather settle before we venture on. Section of the bay, it's a very, very large horseshoe bay actually. And one of the things we realized that we have to get back to our meteorological training and start to interpret the weather ourselves based on isobars and synoptic charts and such, that we can actually figure out what might be happening with the weather, look at the fronts that are coming through and so on. Maybe we'll have better luck than looking at our normal normal tools, but they're all proving to be absolutely useless here in this part of the world. Once safely anchored, we'd barely nodded off for a morning nap when we heard an almighty bang. Thinking something had hit us, we scrambled on deck to realize it was fireworks being set off from the beach. By this point we were sure we had entered the twilight zone. This happened again at noon, but thankfully we managed to get some shut-eye between blasts. With more isolated thunderstorms forecast for the afternoon, we decided to stay on board until early evening when the rain abated, before going ashore. Strolling around the little town in search of some services we needed, besides some of the very pretty gardens and lovely buildings, we stumbled upon the main town square, bordered by the Church of St. Mary Immaculate, draped with a huge banner, as well as beautiful lights and various stalls being set up. It occurred to us that there must be some or other celebration taking place, which would explain the fireworks. As it turned out, being the 15th of June, the town was celebrating the feast day of St. Vito. Today is Friday the 16th of June, and we're spending another day in Sapri. It's one other yacht in the anchorage and Pauper in the distance. But this is the beachfront where everybody's out today. It's a lovely sunny day after the terrible storms we had day before yesterday and into yesterday. But yeah, just walking along the beach and having a bit of a snoop around. Little is known about Saint Vito, also called Vitus, born circa 290 AD in Sicily, and was the son of a pagan Sicilian senator who was converted to Christianity by his nurse and later martyred. He became the patron saint of nervous disorders for casting an evil spirit out of the son of the emperor Diocletian. In certain parts of the world, his feast is celebrated with dancing, giving rise to the name of the neurological disorder St. Vitus dance, an autoimmune condition which is characterized by rapid, uncoordinated jerking movements. This is another view of the waterfront that we're walking along, and it's a whole green area with little cafes. We eventually found somewhere to have a coffee this morning, which was nice. Anyway, it comes all the way around, nice gardens, and all the way down. So this is the rest of the park area. You see it's very green. We've noticed it's very lush here. Definitely different to the more arid areas that we've seen. But that's to do with the amount of rain they get. As we come around, we see the beach and the waterfront there. There's Roy looking decidedly bored while he waits for me. Researching this area, it's predominantly known for the beaches and hiking trails through these mountains. There's this town, which is Sapri, that we're in at the moment. There's the next village down, or a small town called Villa Mari, and then there's also Scoria, where we stopped not that a few days ago and had to leave because of the bad weather. But you can see the greenery, and apparently there's plenty of hiking trails. We saw hikers this morning walking along the waterfront, obviously getting ready to go into the mountains. But yeah, this is another green space within the little town, and it's got the most beautiful flowers. The gardeners are out today, obviously. Enjoying a nice long walk along the beachfront, we walked to the far end of the promenade to see the astronomical observatory built in 1927, as well as a few other historical landmarks dotted around the little town. So we came ashore this evening to have dinner. We're planning to go to one of the restaurants, but we found all of this set up. So we're thinking we might just have a wander around and have something to eat here. All smells delicious. A massive barbecue stall. If you look, I'll zoom in, you can see the coals are actually underneath here, where they cooking the meat slowly.
Magri perché non mangiamo.
Li fai solo, uguale.
Abbiamo pranzato alle 4:30.
Sasatis, some kind. This looks like, oh well, tells you. Hot dogs and kassa, whatever that is. But anyway, barbecued meat. Didn't realize the Italians were into their barbecues. We definitely didn't think we'd find Mexican food in Italy, but there you go. Pizza stall if you want a pizza. There's Brazilian street food, but we didn't come all the way to Italy to have Brazilian food, so we'll choose something else. This stall is for potatoes. You can have it any way you like. Here you can have anything that is pork. Not altogether sure what this is. It looks like some sort of cheese dip. Another barbecue stall. All smells delicious. We're back at the square, and We're hoping to see these lights come on. Hopefully they do come on later, but there's certainly lots of people out and about. So we're going to go and have a walk around. Stopping in Sapri turned out to be a wonderful opportunity to get a glimpse into ordinary Italian life with very few tourists around. So there's also a band here. We're going to sit and stay for a little bit and see what it sounds like. So it's not a band as we know it. Drummers.
Egli prova sono vanna 6. Prova sono vanna. Egli prova sono vanna. Egli prova sono vanna. Prova.
After returning to Paw Paw, the fireworks display just after midnight would have woken the dead. But what an impressive display it was, lasting nearly 30 minutes, leaving us wondering whether or not this kind of celebration takes place for every Saint's Day. Okay, today is, let's see, Saturday the 17th of June. We are motoring again, as usual, but we're doing a short run today, about 25 nautical miles west of where we were in Sapri, and this is the coastline. Very, very pretty as well, very green, lots of beaches all the way along, and the place is called Baia del Domir. I think we're saying that right, who the heck knows, but anyway, and as I come round, the anchorage we're going to is nestled amongst these cliffs. There are a few other boats in there. We have swell from the west and west-southwest, and winds from the northwest or west-northwest. So we're hoping that we actually have some protection for the night. Here's a close-up view of, or slightly close-up view of the beaches. Obviously quite popular, all the beach chairs are out. Various beach clubs along the way. And it's very green, I don't know if you've noticed in the video, very green. And it looks like there might be some kind of settlement here in the hills. But we think the main settlement is actually on the other side of this headland. Our anchorage for the night. Quite a lot of rock around, but there is a small beach here at the head of the bay, which looks quite popular with all the umbrellas and everything else. And then as we come around, some limestone caves, and this way, and we actually have a few other boats for company. These two guys have got tucked in a lot closer to the shoreline than we could. You can see it's much calmer where they are, but we're not too bad. There's the headland and there's a little island there, so we're not sure if the wind's probably going to curl around this headland and the swell as well, but anyway, it'll have to do. As long as we sit into the swell, I'm good with that. This is a very festive bay today. It's nice and calm here behind the headlands, and we have obviously all locals out on their canoes, on their paddle boards, on their pedal boats, all having a great old time. And of course there's all those on the beach as well, which is pretty packed actually. boy's about to get into the water. So he's had to go into the water to clean our depth sensor again. As the wheel is stuck. And as you can hear, the water's rather cold. So here's another view of everybody out on the water. Some yachts sailing in the background. You can hear the wind. These are the gusts that are coming through, but we have a powerboat in as well. And further out, here comes another powerboat. But further out, there are definitely white caps out there. So we're happy to be here. We're sitting into the little swell that there is, and we just have these wind gusts from time to time.